Sunday Roundtable is ready to go this Easter Sunday. Joining us this morning, Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican political analyst Lizzie Guyton. It's great. Happy Easter. It's great to have you guys with us this morning. Sean Reardon sat in the chair. Newburyport's not a large city in the Commonwealth, but is he someone to watch on the political scene, Marianne?
Well, sure. I mean, he's a North Shore mayor, right? Look at Kim Driscoll. Kim Driscoll's kind of the playbook now. If you're a mayor, this is what you could do. You could go and be lieutenant governor, be part of the executive team. You show people how you can use all your relationships, get things done together. That's been a great path. You could see Sean Reardon maybe doing that.
What do you think, Lizzie?
He's also demonstrating that he can get things done. He's putting some big wins on the board. The ballot question for Whittier Tech was huge for him. I mean, he's a former school committee member, and he was able to get something across the finish line to support the town of Newburyport, and he's certainly going to be someone to keep an eye on.
All right, let's turn to Beacon Hill and Governor Healey. Transparency about her personal travel continues to make headlines. We recently learned that it was a vacation trip to Puerto Rico that took her out of state in February. Now, for safety reasons, she says she'll only disclose these personal trips after the fact. Lizzie, you worked for Governor Baker. What do you make of this?
Well, transparency seems to be a stumbling block for Governor Healey so far. We saw this a little bit with the public records. Now we're seeing it with the travel. There is a precedent that we're aware of that you are disclosing travel, especially as the executive. Governor Baker did it. And especially because when a governor is out of state, that means that authority is going to either the lieutenant governor or the secretary of state. So transparency is important for the corner office.
What do you think, Marianne?
Well, it's a moot point. She's going to disclose it now. But here's the reality. Attacks against...
After the fact, she'll disclose it
Attacks against women are up. Attacks against elected officials are up. Attacks against the LGBTQ community are up. Maura Healey, the first gay woman elected governor in Massachusetts, checks all three boxes. So security's, a very important thing to her. She has challenges that Charlie Baker didn't, though he certainly had a few on the security front. I think it's totally acceptable what she's doing. Transfer of power has never been a problem, even when Kim Driscoll was out of state. When her father died.
Is there a right to know here? Do people have a right to know where the governor is 100% of the time?
You're a public official, so therefore you are in the public domain, and you do have obligations under that. However, I think this climate, especially since Trump, where political violence is so serious, there are different considerations. She'll disclose it, and it's just a matter of when, not if.
Lizzie, what do you think?
Well, she also does have a security team. Not every elected official does. I think there's certainly something to be said about having some amount of privacy, but public life is very public. I think that there's a commitment that's been made, and it's also just important that she's honoring the commitments that she's making to residents.
A security team who travels with her.
Next item, Mayor Wu facing pushback from some sectors of the Boston business community. She is moving to increase tax rates on commercial real estate to cushion the blow to residential property owners amid falling tax revenue. The home rule petition would need approval from the legislature. It has happened before. Tom Menino did it successfully in the early 2000s, back in 2004. It's a very different real estate market right now. High post-pandemic vacancies in office buildings. Lizzie, let me start with you. Is this a smart play by the mayor or a potential firestorm?
I don't think anybody wants to see a tax increase right now. I mean, there's a legitimate concern that these tax increases will be passed on to tenants, on to people that are already hurting from inflation, from the cost of living, and it's probably not a smart move.
Marianne.
This is a win-win-win. It allows Michelle Wu to take commercial properties and get more affordable housing. The commercial developers get huge tax cuts if they do that and convert them in time for October 2025. And it stops an increase in residential property taxes, or at least a minimal one. When you go back to when Menino did it, residential property taxes only went up 3%. Ironically, commercial real estate developers, their taxes went down 3%.
Well, what do you make of that sort of idea of the urban doom loop that we're hearing so much about, and that Boston is headed that way?
That's how you break it. If you make Boston more affordable to live in, more people are going to come to Boston, and then there will be more jobs and all that. You take the commercial real estate, which everyone says, oh, you could never make affordable housing and all that. Yes, you can, and that's what she's going to do.
And the Greater Boston Real Estate Board certainly has come out against this, Lizzie.
I mean, I don't think you make much more affordable by adding taxes. I think there needs to be a step back to say we're in a post-pandemic climate. We're seeing a lot of significant changes with the way people work and move around the city. Should we be looking at policy changes that are actually bringing more revenue into the city? Because at the end of the day, that's the issue, is there's not enough tax revenue.
But that's what you would do with the affordable housing, number one. And number two, what she's doing is providing the incentive to do it. So the tax incentive is for commercial developers to do residential conversions.
But it can still get passed on to people that are already seeing a lot of tax increases and a lot of inflation pinching them. To tenants, to people that are trying to occupy the space. These guys are really good at passing things on so that they don't have to absorb the cost.
We'll see.
All right. The Boston City Council briefly considered it earlier this year, but it looks like New York City will go ahead with congestion pricing. Now, unless A judge stops it. Starting in June, commuters will be charged $15 to drive into the heart of Manhattan. Truckers, $36. That would bring in $1 billion a year. If it's successful, how long before it's back on the drawing board in Boston, Lizzie?
We've talked about this before here. If you look around in other cities, London's an example. 66 people are not for expanding the congestion patterns there, and traffic is still worse as ever. Two considerations here is, again, inflation. There's already a lot of costs that people are dealing with. Adding more through commuting is probably not a smart move. And we also don't have a public transportation system right now that's strong enough to absorb more people getting on the commuter rail on the T, which would be a natural thing to discourage people from driving.
What do you think?
Lizzie and I agree on that. Yeah, I mean, look, it is tough to get around, especially with the new traffic lane configurations, which are great in the end when there's public transportation that actually works. It does in New York City, it does in London, a bunch of other places. As hard as Monica Tibbetts Nutt and Phil Eng are working, we're not quite there yet. So when public transportation, the T, buses, all of it works, let's talk about it then.
I can't wait to see what happens in New York City, if it does indeed happen in June. I can't wait to see what happens.